Before the world wakes up, before the noise begins, before the demands of life start pulling on your strength, there is a sacred moment that belongs entirely to you and God. It is the moment when the heavens are still open, when your spirit is most sensitive, when the battles of the night are still settling and the assignments of the day are about to be released. And what you do in that moment determines whether you walk into the day covered or exposed, guided or confused, strengthened or weakened. Many people rise and rush into their day without knowing that the morning is a gate, a spiritual doorway that sets the tone of everything that will follow. But there are those who understand that destiny is too precious to start the day casually. They understand that victory is often secured before the sun fully rises. They understand that favor responds to voices that speak early. They understand that the presence of God, sought sincerely at dawn, becomes an anchor that holds them steady when life becomes unpredictable. You want to see the power of God manifest in your day. If you want clarity, protection, direction, and supernatural peace, then the first thing you must learn is this: start your day with prayer. From the moment you open your eyes, the atmosphere around you begins to shape itself, whether you are aware of it or not. The morning is not an empty space on the clock. It is a spiritual gateway, a corridor where forces of light and darkness contend for the direction of your day. When a new day breaks, heaven records it as another opportunity for alignment, advancement, and restoration. But the enemy also sees it as another opening to sow confusion, discouragement, and delay. This is why starting your day with prayer is not merely a religious habit, it is a spiritual strategy. The morning carries a divine sensitivity that other hours of the day do not possess. What you do at the beginning determines what finds you later. You cannot silence the noise of the world if you do not first silence your soul before God. You cannot expect peace throughout the day if you do not first anchor your spirit in the presence of the one who holds the times and seasons. Every morning carries its own spiritual climate. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but in the realm of the spirit, the morning is like freshly tilled soil waiting for seeds. The seeds can be words of fear, anger, anxiety, or they can be seeds of faith, expectation, and divine alignment. This is why prayer in the morning becomes more than communication, it becomes cultivation. Through prayer, you plant what you want to harvest. When you speak over your day, when you declare the promises of God, when you align your spirit with the word, you are shaping the unseen environment that will eventually manifest in the seen world. Many people step into their mornings passively, unaware that silence is still a language in the spirit. If you do not command your morning, something else will. The Bible shows us repeatedly that battles are won before the sun rises, because victory is shaped in the quiet hours before the world wakes up. The morning is also the moment your mind is most vulnerable. Before the messages, the calls, the problems, and the responsibilities rush toward you, there is a window where your mind seeks direction. If you do not instruct it, it will wander. If you do not feed it, it will absorb whatever the world throws first. Morning prayer becomes the moment you surrender your mind to God and ask Him to take preeminence. It becomes the moment where the noise of yesterday dies and the clarity for today is born. Many of the emotional and mental battles people fight throughout the day are not random. They are the result of mornings that were left unguarded. Peace does not just appear, peace is spoken, declared, and invited. Strength does not just suddenly enter your heart, strength is drawn from the presence of God. Wisdom does not just fall like rain, wisdom is requested at the feet of the Father. Morning prayer becomes the gate that brings these realities into your day. There is a reason the enemy fights your mornings the most. He wants you to wake up tired, distracted, frustrated, or overwhelmed, because he knows that if he can steal the beginning, he can influence the rest. He knows that if you step into your day feeling spiritually empty, you will walk through battles with no armor, no clarity, and no divine backing. But when you decide to make prayer your first response, something shifts. The heaviness lifts, the confusion clears, the atmosphere changes. You start your day not as a victim of circumstances, but as a commander in the spirit. Morning prayer gives you the authority to silence every negative expectation. It positions you to recognize opportunities that others overlook. It sharpens your spiritual senses to detect deception, manipulation, and strange occurrences that are designed to derail you. When you pray at the start of the day, you are announcing to the realms of darkness that you have not surrendered your hours to chance. You are declaring that heaven's agenda will prevail over every demonic agenda. You are establishing your day under God's government, God's wisdom, and God's protection. Morning prayer becomes your hedge, a covering that shields you from attacks that were designed to meet you unexpectedly. There are battles you never face simply because you prayed. There are traps you never enter because prayer redirected your steps. There are losses you never experienced because prayer fortified your path. This is why great destinies insist on early alignment. Nothing about your day should begin before God is invited into it. Every conversation, every decision, every journey, every opportunity, and every challenge is best handled when filtered through the presence of God. And beyond protection and guidance, morning prayer creates intimacy with God. It reminds your heart that you are not walking alone. It settles your spirit with the assurance that heaven is backing you. It lifts your faith, increases your expectation, and awakens your purpose. The morning becomes the sacred place where God whispers direction, where He resets your focus, where He restores your confidence, where He breathes strength into your spirit. To start your day with powerful prayer is to declare that today will not be shaped by fear, chaos, or uncertainty, but by divine order and supernatural guidance. It means stepping into the world with the authority of someone who has already met with God, already secured peace, already commanded favor, and already aligned with destiny before the day even begins. Every new day arrives carrying its own spiritual possibilities, challenges, and invisible movements. Nothing about a day is ordinary. In the realm of the Spirit, a new day is like a document waiting for signatures, and whichever voice signs it first, heaven or darkness determines how that day unfolds. This is why morning prayer becomes your greatest weapon. It is the moment you align yourself with God's will. Silence every negative expectation and cancel the patterns the enemy tries to project over your life. There are days when you wake up feeling heavy, anxious, discouraged, or confused, and you may think it is just emotion, but often it is spiritual interference attempting to set the tone of your day. Prayer interrupts these wrong signals and resets the spiritual frequency you operate on. The will of God is not automatically fulfilled. You must partner with it. Prayer is the platform where that partnership begins each morning. When you rise and present your day before God, you are saying, Father, let your will override every other will. There are voices that speak over you, voices of past experiences, voices of fear, voices of failure, voices of doubt, voices of people who underestimated you, and voices of the enemy who seeks to weaken you before you even start. These voices create expectations in your mind. An expectation is a powerful force because it becomes the lens through which you interpret everything that happens. If you expect rejection, you misread opportunities. If you expect trouble, you attract unnecessary battles. If you expect pain, you fail to recognize divine help. That is why morning prayer is essential. It purifies your expectation. It removes the fog that yesterday left behind. It allows the Holy Spirit to cleanse your mind and align your expectation with what God has planned, not what circumstances are whispering. Every negative expectation is a seed planted by something: fear, trauma, insecurity, or spiritual attack. And whatever seed is allowed to remain becomes a harvest. Prayer uproots these seeds before they grow. When you begin your morning in the presence of God, you are rejecting every negative spiritual projection sent into your day. You are canceling disappointments that were assigned to frustrate you. You are silencing delays that were designed to slow you. You are breaking manipulations that were planted to confuse your decisions. Without prayer, these things attempt to take root and begin influencing your thoughts, interactions, and direction without your awareness. But with prayer, the atmosphere of your day becomes governed by heaven, not by negative cycles. Prayer early in the day also acts as a filter that separates divine opportunities from distractions. Not everything that comes your way is from God. Some invitations are traps. Some relationships are spiritual assignments sent by the enemy. Some decisions carry consequences larger than they look. When you pray in the morning, you are asking for discernment that sees beyond surface appearances. You are asking God to shine His light on the path ahead. You are asking Him to frustrate the plans of darkness before they even begin to manifest. This alignment protects you from walking into battles that were never yours to fight. It prevents you from wasting time, energy, and emotion on things that do not contribute to your destiny. Prayer becomes the spiritual compass that orients you toward the will of God instead of wandering through the day without direction. The enemy understands the power of the morning, which is why he loves to plant negative thoughts the moment you wake up. Thoughts like today will be difficult. Nothing will change. This is going to be another disappointing day. Or I don't have the strength for what is ahead. These are not harmless thoughts. They are spiritual suggestions sent to manipulate your faith. If you agree with them, you are already defeated before the day even begins. But when you counter them with prayer, you release a superior spiritual law. You declare that the day will be filled with favor, breakthrough, protection, and divine encounters. You declare that your life is not at the mercy of chance, but guided by the hand of God. You declare that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Prayer transforms your internal atmosphere so that what God has spoken becomes louder than what the enemy whispers. Morning prayer also activates divine help. Throughout the day, you will meet situations that require strength beyond human ability. A conversation may require wisdom you were not expecting to use. A decision may require clarity you did not plan for. An unexpected challenge may require supernatural peace to navigate. When you pray early, you are asking God to walk into those moments with you. You are requesting angelic assistance, divine orchestration, and spiritual reinforcement. There are routes you will avoid because prayer redirected your steps. There are problems that dissolve because prayer sent help before the problem even appeared. Prayer ensures you do not walk into your day alone, but escorted by divine presence. And beyond protection and intervention, morning prayer cancels every negative expectation the enemy tries to sow regarding your future. He wants you to believe that things will not improve, that you are forgotten, that breakthroughs are far, that delays are permanent. But prayer reminds your spirit that God is still working, God is still rearranging, God is still positioning you for answers. Prayer realigns your hope so that you enter the day expecting good news, expecting divine connections, expecting open doors, and expecting the supernatural hand of God to guide you. By praying in the morning, you are telling the realm of the Spirit that your day will not be shaped by fear, sadness, or uncertainty, but by divine order, divine favor, and divine intervention. There are moments in every day when one decision can shift the trajectory of your life, and the weight of those moments often appears without warning. This is why beginning your morning in prayer is not optional for a person who desires divine direction. Life is filled with crossroads, distractions, and unpredictable turns, and relying solely on human understanding is never enough. Morning prayer becomes the spiritual compass that positions your heart to hear the voice of God clearly. In those quiet moments before the world demands your attention, your spirit becomes more receptive, more sensitive, and more aligned with heaven. You are not just speaking to God, you are creating an environment where He can speak to you. When you invite Him into your morning, you are giving Him permission to guide your steps, influence your decisions, and lead you away from paths that look good but are destructive in the end. Wisdom is one of the greatest gifts God gives, but wisdom rarely shouts, it whispers. And if your heart is crowded with noise, fear, pressure, anxiety, or confusion, you will miss the whisper. That is why the morning is so precious. Your mind is uncluttered, your emotions are calm, and your spirit is open. In this stillness, God releases clarity that can shift an entire day. There are ideas He will place in your heart that you would never consider on your own. There are solutions He will reveal that human reasoning can never produce. There are warnings He will give that protect you from hidden traps. This early communication with God is not about routine. It is about positioning yourself for supernatural intelligence. Many people are living in cycles of frustration simply because they never seek God early enough to hear the instructions that end the cycle. Every major biblical figure who walked with power, wisdom, and accuracy spent their mornings with God. Not because mornings are magical, but because mornings are uncluttered. They understood that divine direction is best received before the day becomes noisy. When you pray in the morning, you are not begging God for random blessings. You are requesting alignment. You are asking Him to guide your conversation so you don't speak out of emotion. You are asking Him to order your steps so you walk where favor is waiting. You are asking Him to anoint your decisions so you choose paths that lead to growth and not destruction. Divine direction is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is a nudge, a sense of peace, a subtle discomfort, or an idea that rises in your heart. Without morning prayer, these signals can easily be overlooked or drowned out by stress. Every day presents choices that look harmless but carry spiritual implications. A simple yes or no can change relationships, finances, opportunities, or destiny. This is why prayer engages the wisdom of God before your day engages you. It becomes the lens through which you make decisions. It sharpens your discernment so you can distinguish between opportunities sent by God and distractions sent by the enemy. Not every open door is divine. Some doors lead to delay, some to unnecessary battles, and some to painful detours. Morning prayer activates the light of God that exposes the true nature of what stands before you. You may not know what your day holds, but God already does, and He is willing to guide you if you create space for Him to speak. There are also people you will meet throughout the day, some assigned to help you, some assigned to drain you, and some assigned to distract you. Without divine direction, you may welcome the wrong people while overlooking those sent to bless you. Morning prayer requests the discernment to recognize divine connections and the wisdom to avoid toxic ones. It protects your heart from manipulation, deception, and emotional traps. It gives you the spiritual strength to say no to what threatens your peace and yes to what aligns with your destiny. When you pray in the morning, God begins to reorder your day. He aligns your steps with timing, with opportunities, with conversations, and with the right environments. What looks like coincidence becomes evidence of His guidance. There are also unseen forces that attempt to influence decisions throughout the day. Pressure that pushes you into mistakes, fear that clouds your judgment, fatigue that dulls your discernment, and spiritual resistance that tries to confuse your mind. Morning prayer breaks these influences before they can gain momentum. It becomes the shield that protects your decisions. It calms your spirit so you can think clearly. It stabilizes your emotions so you are not controlled by fear or frustration. It anchors your thoughts so they are not swayed by negative voices or discouraging environments. A person who starts their day in prayer walks with a strange confidence, a supernatural steadiness that others cannot explain. Morning prayer also builds spiritual sensitivity. There are times when something inside you simply knows what to do, even when the situation looks uncertain. That knowing is not intuition, it is the voice of God activated through fellowship. When you begin your day with God, your inner compass becomes sharp. You begin to recognize His leading in small things. What to avoid, who to call, when to pause, when to move, and when to speak. This sensitivity can save you from regret and lead you into favor. Prayer makes you spiritually aware so you can navigate your day with precision. And beyond all these benefits, morning prayer transforms your mindset. Instead of stepping into the day confused, you step into it guided. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel anchored. Instead of reacting to situations blindly, you respond with wisdom, clarity, and peace. You move with purpose because your spirit knows it has been aligned with the will of God. You walk with assurance because you have already committed your path to Him. When you start your day in prayer, heaven does not just hear you. Heaven goes with you. Words are not casual expressions, they are spiritual instruments. In the realm of the Spirit, nothing moves until something is spoken. This is why beginning your day with declarations is not a religious exercise, but a strategy of dominion. When you speak over your morning, you are not just motivating yourself, you are authorizing heaven to act on your behalf. The spiritual realm responds to words more than intentions. Even silence is interpreted as permission for something else to speak in your place. If you do not declare favor, obstacles will declare their presence. If you do not declare victory, fear will declare itself. If you do not declare the promises of God, the enemy will fill your day with suggestions that contradict them. Morning declarations become the voice that shapes the atmosphere around you before life tries to shape it for you. Every day there are spiritual programs designed to follow you, some from God and some from the enemy. Favor, peace, direction, and divine help are waiting for your invitation. Likewise, delays, discouragement, spiritual resistance, and emotional heaviness are waiting for an unguarded moment. What you say in the morning determines which of these forces gains access. When you declare that your day is blessed, you are opening a gate for divine assistance. When you speak that doors will open, you are setting the spiritual environment for opportunities to locate you. When you command peace, you are shutting down every attempt of confusion and anxiety to rise against you. Declarations are not about shouting, they are about taking authority. When you speak as a child of God, creation is obligated to respond because the same breath God used to speak the world into existence is the breath He placed inside you. There is a reason why battles often intensify for people who stay silent. Silence in the spirit is seen as surrender. But when you speak, you resist darkness. You break cycles. You cancel patterns. You overturn spiritual verdicts that were established against you during the night. The enemy works heavily in the early hours, planting discouragement, fear, and heaviness before you wake up, hoping you will rise and accept those emotions as normal. Morning declarations destroy these projections. They break the residue of dreams that were meant to weaken your faith. They dismantle every spiritual attack that tried to attach itself while you slept. They create a fresh atmosphere where only the purposes of God are allowed to prevail. Declarations are also powerful because they shape your internal reality. The human mind naturally drifts toward negativity, fear, and doubt. When you declare the word of God, you are not just speaking to the atmosphere. You are speaking to your own soul. You are telling your heart what to feel, your mind what to think, and your spirit what to expect. If your mind is not instructed, it will be influenced. If your emotions are not stabilized, they will be attacked. Morning declarations anchor your soul in truth. They remind you that you are protected, favored, empowered, and supported by heaven. This inner stability becomes a shield throughout the day. You begin to think differently, act differently, and walk differently because your mind is aligned with the promises of God and not the pressures of the world. When you declare favor in the morning, something supernatural happens. People begin to respond to you differently. Situations that were impossible begin to shift. Resources begin to align. You may not see it instantly, but spiritual forces are activated. Favor is not random, it is commanded. Open doors are not accidental, they are summoned. Breakthroughs are not luck, they are spiritually authorized. The same way God spoke to darkness and light appeared, you speak into the uncertainties of your day and clarity appears. You speak into closed doors and opportunities open. You speak into challenges and solutions emerge. Your declarations become keys that unlock what was previously inaccessible. There are also invisible battles that your declarations fight without your awareness. You do not know every conversation being held about you. You do not know every plan the enemy has structured to hinder you. You do not know every trap waiting along your path. But your declarations go ahead of you like soldiers, clearing the way. They frustrate demonic meetings. They interrupt negative cycles. They dismantle every coordinated attack. When you declare protection, angels are assigned to your path. When you declare wisdom, divine ideas begin to rise in your spirit. When you declare breakthroughs, God begins to orchestrate events in your favor. Your words travel into your future and rearrange the environment you will eventually walk into. Declarations also build your spiritual authority. The more you speak the word, the more your spirit becomes trained to operate in boldness. Fear begins to lose its influence. Doubt loses its grip. Anxiety cannot dominate someone who has already commanded their atmosphere. Morning declarations give you the confidence to walk into the day not as a victim of circumstances, but as a commander of spiritual realities. You begin to understand that life does not just happen to you. You shape it. You influence it. You direct it. You walk with a sense of assurance because you have already established what will and will not happen through the authority of your words. Most importantly, declarations invite the presence of God into your day. When you speak His promises, you are reminding the atmosphere who reigns. You are welcoming the King of Glory to go before you, beside you, and behind you. And wherever His presence rests, there is breakthrough, peace, healing, and divine orchestration. When you begin your morning with declarations, you are creating an environment where heaven is comfortable, and wherever heaven rests, nothing dark can prevail. This is why it is essential to speak in the morning. You are not just starting your day, you are shaping it. You are not just hoping for favor, you are commanding it. You are not just wishing for peace, you are establishing it. Your words become the spiritual foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. There are battles you will never see with your physical eyes, but they influence emotions, decisions, relationships, and outcomes throughout the day. These battles do not begin when the sun rises. Many begin in the silence of the night, when you are asleep and unaware. Forces of darkness operate strategically, attempting to sow confusion, heaviness, delay, misdirection, and spiritual interference into the atmosphere you will wake up to. This is why morning prayer is not just a discipline, it is spiritual warfare. It is the moment you stand at the gate of a new day and declare that darkness will not define it. Morning prayer establishes your dominion before you step into environments where the enemy has already tried to plant seeds of defeat. Darkness works subtly. It may not appear as something dramatic. Sometimes it shows up as sudden discouragement for no reason, unexplained fear, heaviness that makes everything feel difficult, or strange frustrations that arise from small things. People assume this is normal, but it is spiritual. There are spirits assigned to drain strength at the start of the day, to make you hopeless before you even begin. There are monitoring spirits that study your patterns and attempt to interrupt your progress by creating cycles. Cycles where you feel stuck, cycles where you face unnecessary resistance, cycles where breakthroughs delay without logical reason. Morning prayer breaks these cycles. It becomes the spiritual declaration that you refuse to walk under any influence except the influence of God. When you pray, you enforce the victory already given to you. You remind darkness that you are not powerless. You make it clear that your day is under the control of the one who reigns above every power. Prayer releases light, and light always overrules darkness. When you pray in the morning, you release spiritual fire that burns every invisible barrier the enemy has set before you. You dismantle every trap. You expose every hidden manipulation. You silence every voice that speaks against your progress. You declare that no weapon formed against you will prosper. You are not fighting for victory. You are enforcing the victory that was already secured for you. Morning prayer is where you put on spiritual armor and ensure nothing designed to weaken you will prevail. There are moments when the enemy's goal is not to destroy you, but to distract you. If he can distract you, he can delay you. If he can delay you, he can discourage you. If he can discourage you, he can weaken your faith. If he can weaken your faith, he can interrupt your destiny. Morning prayer shuts down distractions before they begin. It blinds monitoring spirits that watch your movements. It disconnects you from spiritual interference that tries to drain your energy. It builds a divine wall around your mind, protecting your thoughts from anxiety, fear, and mental attacks. It creates a spiritual shield around your emotions so that no sudden negativity can enter your heart and steal your peace. The enemy's most effective weapon is influence. If he cannot stop you physically, he tries to influence your thoughts, your moods, your reactions, your decisions. A person who does not guard their morning becomes emotionally vulnerable throughout the day. Anything can offend them, distract them, or destabilize their focus. But when you pray in the morning, you restore inner strength. You regain emotional stability. You silence the voice of fear. You calm every anxiety. You strengthen your spiritual backbone. You step into the world with peace that cannot be shaken easily. Morning prayer gives you the power to remain steady even when situations try to shake you. The spiritual realm recognizes authority. When you stand before God in the morning and take charge of your day, every opposing force recognizes that you are not walking alone. Prayer summons divine presence, and wherever divine presence rests, darkness cannot stand. Angels go before you to clear your path. The atmosphere becomes charged with supernatural peace. Situations that were orchestrated to trouble you lose their power because you have already established dominion. The enemy cannot manipulate what you have already surrendered to God in prayer. He cannot distort what you have already spoken truth over. He cannot plant fear in a heart that has already been strengthened by the presence of God. Morning prayer also releases spiritual clarity. The enemy thrives in confusion. He wants to fill your day with distractions, conflict, and unnecessary pressure, so you lose focus on your purpose. But when you begin with prayer, confusion is destroyed. You receive clarity. You gain inner order. Your priorities become aligned. Your spirit becomes sensitive to warning signals that protect you from danger. You begin walking with divine insight that the enemy cannot replicate. Prayer lights your path so that darkness cannot influence your decisions. There are also demonic observations that take place against people who do not guard their mornings. Some spirits watch patterns, weaknesses, emotional triggers, and vulnerabilities. They use these observations to create situations that frustrate progress. But morning prayer blinds the enemy. It makes you spiritually unpredictable. It confuses demonic intelligence. It frustrates every plan that was designed to weaken you. Prayer becomes the covering that keeps you hidden, protected, and inaccessible to every attack assigned to your day. Most importantly, morning prayer establishes a spiritual atmosphere where only God's presence is allowed to operate. When the presence of God rests on your day, darkness cannot prevail. Peace becomes your portion. Strength becomes your inheritance. Favor becomes your experience. You walk with confidence, knowing that you did not enter the day casually. You entered it equipped, protected, empowered, and fortified. You become a person who does not fear the day because the one who made the day walks with you. This is why morning prayer is not an option. It is a shield. It is a weapon. It is a declaration of dominion. It is the moment you take control spiritually, so nothing takes control of you, emotionally, mentally, or circumstantially. Gratitude is one of the most underestimated spiritual forces a believer possesses, yet it carries a power that shifts atmospheres, opens doors, and draws the presence of God in a way nothing else does. When you begin your day with thanksgiving, you are not just saying thank you, you are aligning your heart with heaven. The morning becomes more than a routine, it becomes a sanctuary. Gratitude is the language of faith, the posture of humility, and the atmosphere that invites God to dwell with you. When your first words in the morning are not complaints, not worries, not fears, but thanksgiving, you are declaring to creation that God is still good, still faithful, still in control, still your source, still your strength, and still your hope. That declaration alone shifts everything within and around you. A grateful heart is a magnet for divine encounters. God is drawn to gratitude the way fire is drawn to oxygen. Thanksgiving creates a spiritual climate where heaven feels welcome. You are saying, Lord, I acknowledge you as the one who sustained me through the night, protected me while I slept, fought battles I didn't see, and allowed me to see a new day. Many people wake up and immediately step into anxiety because the first thing their mind remembers is pressure, responsibility, or yesterday's burden. But gratitude interrupts that cycle. It pulls you away from fear into awareness. It reminds your spirit that you are not alone. It lifts you from the weight of yesterday and positions you for strength today. Gratitude breaks spiritual heaviness because heaviness cannot survive in a thankful heart. Thanksgiving also shifts your perspective. What you focus on expands. If you begin your day focusing on what is wrong, your day will be filled with frustration. If you begin your day focused on what is missing, you will feel empty even in the presence of blessings. But if you begin with gratitude, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, your spirit becomes stronger. Gratitude activates joy, and joy is spiritual strength. A heart filled with gratitude cannot be easily discouraged, manipulated, or defeated. Problems lose their power because gratitude lifts you above them. When you say, Lord, thank you for breath, thank you for strength, thank you for grace, thank you for provision, thank you for your presence, your spirit rises into a realm where fear has no influence. You are no longer reacting to life. You are spiritually anchored. There are things God has done for you silently. Things you never saw. Dangers He blocked. Enemies He silenced. Attacks He prevented. Opportunities He positioned. All without you knowing. Gratitude acknowledges this invisible faithfulness. It is the humble recognition that God has been working even when you were sleeping unaware or distracted. And whenever God finds a grateful heart, He releases more. Thanksgiving multiplies blessings. The more you thank God, the more you see reasons to thank Him. Gratitude sharpens your spiritual vision. You begin to recognize blessings in places you once overlooked. You begin to see God's hand in details you once ignored. Morning gratitude also purifies the heart. Bitterness, envy, comparison, and frustration cannot coexist with genuine thanksgiving. Many people are spiritually blocked, not because they lack prayer, but because they lack gratitude. Prayer without gratitude becomes begging. Prayer with gratitude becomes worship. And worship attracts the presence of God in a deeply personal way. When you thank God in the morning, you are not just remembering His goodness, you are inviting His presence to walk with you through the day. The atmosphere of your heart becomes a dwelling place. Divine ideas flow more easily. Spiritual clarity increases. Peace settles over you like a covering. Gratitude prepares your heart to hear God more clearly, because a thankful heart is a quiet heart, and a quiet heart is a listening heart. You cannot carry a heart of gratitude and expect an ordinary day. Gratitude shifts expectation. When you thank God at the beginning of the day, you start expecting His goodness throughout the day. You begin to look for His hand in conversations, in decisions, in unexpected moments. You stay sensitive to His leading because you started the day acknowledging Him. This expectation activates faith, and faith activates miracles. Many divine encounters happen not because people prayed the longest, but because they prayed with the right heart, grateful, surrendered, aligned, and aware of God's presence. Gratitude prepares the spiritual ground for God to deposit encounters, instructions, and unexpected blessings. Thanksgiving also breaks entitlement. It reminds you that every blessing is a gift, not a right. Every open door is grace. Every answered prayer is mercy. Every breath is kindness. When entitlement dies, pride dies. And when pride dies, God draws near. Gratitude is the pathway to intimacy with God. It tells Him, I value you more than the things you give. I honor you more than the answers I seek. I recognize you as the center of my life. This posture invites deeper encounters. Moments when God whispers direction, reveals solutions, strengthens your heart, or fills you with supernatural peace that follows you the rest of the day. Morning gratitude also prepares you for spiritual resistance. When your heart is thankful, the enemy loses his ability to manipulate your emotions. He cannot use fear against a grateful heart. He cannot use discouragement against a grateful heart. He cannot use comparison, doubt, or frustration to weaken someone who starts their day anchored in God's goodness. Gratitude fortifies your spirit because it keeps your focus on what God is doing, not what the enemy is trying. Most importantly, gratitude transforms the way you walk through your day. You move with peace instead of pressure. You move with hope instead of heaviness. You move with confidence instead of fear. You move with expectation instead of anxiety. You move with joy instead of frustration. Gratitude becomes the oil that keeps your spirit burning, keeps your heart soft, keeps your mind clear, and keeps your steps ordered by God. This is why morning gratitude is not just a practice. It is a spiritual weapon, a doorway to encounters, a foundation for peace, and a magnet for God's presence. When your day begins with thanksgiving, your entire life begins to shift toward divine alignment, supernatural favor, and spiritual strength. From everything we have explored, one truth rises above all others. The morning is not just the beginning of a new day. It is a sacred gate, a spiritual doorway that determines the rhythm, atmosphere, and outcome of everything that will follow. When you choose to start your day with powerful prayer, you are not simply practicing a routine. You are establishing alignment, invoking divine help, commanding your atmosphere, and securing your destiny before any battle, decision, or challenge meets you. You are declaring to heaven, to the earth, and to the forces of darkness that this day belongs to God, that your steps are ordered, that your spirit is anchored, and that no attack, no delay, and no manipulation will have the final say. You rise not as a weak, confused, or overwhelmed person, but as one who has met with God before stepping into the world. You rise with clarity, with wisdom, with peace, and with spiritual strength. You rise with an atmosphere charged by the presence of the one who goes before you and the one who keeps you. You rise covered, guided, protected, and empowered. Starting your day with prayer means you refuse to walk blindly. It means you refuse to let life happen to you without divine guidance. It means you refuse to surrender your emotions, your decisions, and your destiny to chance or spiritual interference. You step into your morning with authority, declaring what will follow you and what will not. You declare favor, you declare peace, you declare protection, you declare victory, you declare supernatural help. Prayer is the key that unlocks the storehouse of the day. Prayer is the shield that breaks the arrows before they fly. Prayer is the voice that commands your environment into obedience. Prayer is the doorway through which the presence of God enters and transforms everything. But beyond the authority, beyond the declarations, beyond the warfare, there is the tenderness of gratitude. Because when you thank God at the start of the day, you remind your heart that He is faithful, that He is sovereign, that He is constant, that He is your source and your sustainer. Gratitude purifies your heart and creates a sanctuary where God's presence is welcome. And when His presence comes, no darkness can stand, no confusion can linger, no fear can survive. The day becomes a canvas on which God paints His goodness, His mercy, and His divine orchestration. So as you step forward, remember this: no day is ordinary, no morning is empty, no moment is without meaning. The way you begin determines the way you walk, and the way you walk determines the way you finish. Start your day with prayer, and you will start your day with power. Start with gratitude, and you will start with grace. Start with declaration, and you will start with dominion. Start with God, and you will never walk alone. Good luck to you as you continue this journey of spiritual alignment and daily victory. May every morning open with clarity, strength, favor, and divine encounters. Thank you for trusting this message, and thank you for allowing these words to pour into your spirit. May the hand of God guide you, protect you, and lift you higher every single day.